So it's been about 12 hours since we filmed the last ADA video, and we didn't know what we were going to see overnight. It was a question of, do we get a continuation of this Binance selling? Do we get a continuation of capitulation as overseas money wakes up? And the answer is yes. We did see a lot of that take place. We saw some more long leverage liquidations, which we'll talk about that in this video. I will say, though, there is a moment where the market decides to plant its foot in the ground and start to move the opposite direction, and things are calming down just a little bit. And we're going to have a discussion about that, as well as something similar to what we did last market cycle. Believe it or not, this is not that different from what we've done in the past. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So yes, ADA did in fact fall out of this right angle broadening descending wedge, which is not necessarily what we wanted to see. Again, we do want to hold structure here. Again, this is where we start targeting that $1.02 push. But I will say it was very interesting to see ADA actually break to the downside, touch the bottom of this big bull flag that we've had drawn out here for quite some time, and just bounce right off of that and try to actually get back in within trend. And in fact, when we look at our 4-hour chart, you guys can see that on the RSI, we're very heavily oversold right now. I'm not surprised that we're getting a little bit of bounce here. This is where we're seeing a lot of accumulation take place across the crypto market. And even the daily in terms of ADA, very close to oversold. Sometimes you get these double bottoms on the RSI before you start making these moves up. That's in fact what we did from basically, what was that, July into August. And then we went full sendy, right? Now, full sendy. So anyways, what we're seeing now is also some capitulation in terms of BTC. BTC is doing something not necessarily that we liked structurally. We didn't like breaking this trend line to the downside. Understand that we did that all the way back here on February 3rd as well, with a subsequent rebound to the upside. We're kind of floating in no man's land. And the biggest and most important thing that I will say here is our weekly candle has to close above this 20-week moving average. That is bull market support. Understand that, yes, we can close weekly candles below here if we do have black swan events. Maybe people want to count the Bybit hack as a black swan event, but that's neither here nor there. But what we're dealing with is we're trying to find stability in the market. We're trying to find things calming down just a little bit. And what's interesting is, we're doing something very similar to last market cycle, and I'll get to this in just a moment here. But this is what we're focusing on a lot right now is Binance. Binance, again, has been using winter mute. They've been unloading very heavily. For example, this one, last time I refreshed this, 4 minutes, 4 minutes before I refreshed this, they had just unloaded another 5.49 million in Ethereum through Wintermute. So this has been a very consistent theme, and this is in fact dwindling down very quickly. So they have $198 million left in this wallet. Doesn't mean they're going to dump it all, but understand that this is what we're fighting against in the crypto market right now. They've actually run $877 million through Wintermute in the last month, and a lot of what we're seeing across the market is just capitulation. We're seeing people freaking out. We're seeing, institutional money do some unloading in the crypto market. BlackRock even dumped $158 million worth of BTC yesterday. Go figure. This has been more of a consistent trend now. And in fact, when we look at leverage, $1.48 billion liquidated over the last 24 hours. And what's interesting here, let me just refresh this just to kind of see where we're at here, because this has been slowing down a lot. 1.5 now, right? But I've watched this slowly but surely calm down. It was very aggressive. What we talked about last night was like $920 million. You can see how much that's increased overnight. But now we're in this rolling 24-hour period where it looks like things are in fact slowing down. People are using less leverage. So this is a very good thing. The market is kind of I guess settling down, right? It's kind of getting entrenched in these levels just a little bit. Now, what I will say is, ADA is perfectly holding this big bull flag. All right. This is probably the best and biggest bull flag structure we have seen in quite some time. We obviously had one back here in December of 2023 into January of 2024. But the last time we had one this big and for this long was all the way back in 2020. This was actually from basically August of 2020 down to September of 2020. Actually, I think it was slightly longer than that. July of 2020. There we go. Into September of 2020. So very similar time frame to what we're doing now. And really what that led us to do was that 2,900% move to the upside. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here, right? Law of diminishing returns. That would be this next leg for ADA surges us to, over $20 by sometime around May. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, right? But what's interesting is we actually saw a very similar retracement at that point. Actually, from basically the peak of that down to the bottom here was about 51%. And what we're dealing with in terms of ADA right now is from the peak of this down to where we're at currently, about 50%. Go figure, right? So again, I just want to remind people, this is the trend. Oops, if I can turn that on. This is the trend that we've actually been monitoring most closely, saying, hey, we're basically at where we were that point last market cycle, right? And this is what followed. This isn't an uncommon thing. We're following the trend, right? Now, this doesn't mean we're always going to follow the trend. It doesn't mean it's always going to hold true. And what I found very interesting was actually looking back at last market cycle, what we're doing in terms of the total market cap of crypto is we're currently down about 23%. And what's interesting here, let's see if I can find where this was. I kind of lost my way here now. What we were actually dealing with was very similar retracement. I lost it. We're dealing with very similar retracement somewhere around in here. Actually, right here it was. So what we were dropping was about 22%. All right. So what's interesting is, we're showing some striking similarities, not to the same time frame in last market cycle, not to that, February, March, January, around that time standpoint. It's actually even earlier. And, I find this kind of interesting. This market structure has stayed pretty consistent for the most part. We haven't broken the 4-year cycle per se, but it's possible again that things may have been elongated in this cycle. And, we've constantly been talking about the October timeframe being the top, and I'm still gonna watch that time frame closely. But now with, quantitative easing not being here yet, with this suppression that we're dealing with in the market, with us not even getting into adoption taking place yet here in 2025, it's possible that things could be pushed back just slightly. And it's possible that we're in a potentially earlier time frame in the market cycle than where we anticipate we are. All right. And no, I'm not saying we're even, close to the top or anything like that. I know some people are saying, oh yeah, that's it. It's over. We're falling, right? I found this very interesting article, which I'm not going to get into too much just because, time, we're already creeping up there in terms of time in this video, but there's a lot of signs that we're not even close to this market cycle being over. In fact, this is just seeming like one of those opportunities again, where we can accumulate and add to our bags. And what I have to say here is be responsible. Don't overextend yourself. I know that these times can be very attractive. I've done what I can to free up capital, but make sure you can pay your bills. Make sure that you can pay your rent or mortgage or whatever, because there will be good times ahead. It's just a question of when is the market going to calm down, plant its foot in the ground, and start climbing to the upside. That may be a lot sooner than people realize. A lot of times we get very aggressive moves out of these deep dips. Understand that I'm not saying that this is the bottom yet. I'm not saying that we won't go lower. There's always that potential because we're dealing with sentiment. We're dealing with emotion. We're dealing with people capitulating, right? People calling it quits, thinking that it's over. And that tends to give us, again, some big opportunities, but it gives us big dips that are the opportunity, right? So I just found this all very interesting. The market is doing some very irrational things. But again, if you're looking at accumulating, it's great opportunities to do so. We know what comes from here. Remember, the biggest thing I will stress is adoption isn't stopping. Integration isn't stopping. And right now, frankly, ADA and Cardano are one of the best prepared for this big boom of adoption that is going to come from retail, from enterprise, and from government. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.